All right, Shalom. Shalom. First things first, I'm going to give all honor and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Machakurash. Say Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai, Bahashem Machakurash. And we give double honors to our apostles and our elders, which are the apostle elders, a great millstone, which feed us with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. 2025, which is the hopeful year of our deliverance and the judgment and destruction of Esau. Let's jump right into this lesson. This lesson is based on the real ID, okay? The deadline. This was a news article I seen that the deadline for the real ID is coming up on May, all right? And this is just another further incremental steps towards we know what, all right? Because we know the group and those, starting with our apostles and elders that have told the coming of this prophecy, all right? Those that don't want to accept the MOTB for what it is, you don't have to. Just like it says, so that unbelief make the words of the Most High to none effect. All right, I'm paraphrasing because why would it say that if everybody would just believe it and see it? That's how the Lord said in the scriptures. It says, how long, O Lord, till the cities be wasted? So there's going to be certain people that won't see the danger coming. They won't see the writing on the walls. They won't understand. Same thing John the Baptist told the wicked Sadducees and Pharisees that were coming out to spy on him pretty much was who warned you to flee from the wrath to come. So we're saying the same thing to you guys. We're warning you, but at the same time, you're bucking up against it. You're fighting against, you're kicking against the pricks. It's evident, it's clear. There's something coming down the pike where they're going to require all those that are willing to travel. If you don't travel, then you stuck here. You stuck on the borders. You can leave, but you won't leave on no legal means. You'll be leaving in a alternative manner. Okay, boat, whatever you want to do, kayak. But the main point is that they're leading this, they're grooming the people. And I have that word gradualism pulled up too, because the apostle went into that also. And this is another form of gradualism right in your face. So they allowed people to, and what's the chances of it doing in 2025? You know, why didn't they do it in 2024, 23, or 26? Why is the deadline this year? So it's a reason and a point behind why they did it this year. All right. So I got a couple articles pulled up where it says new requirement for all airline passengers begins in May. You have 1 month left to get your real ID before May 2025 deadline. It's crunch time, experts say. So let's pull this up. It says, starting May 7th, United States flyers won't be able to board a domestic plane unless they have a real ID. They won't be able to access certain federal facilities or enter a nuclear power plant. Not sure, it says not sure you have a real ID. Look at the top corner of your look at your current driver's license or state identification card. If it's real ID compatible, it will have a star in the right-hand corner. Why did they pick a star? Why didn't they pick an eagle? Why did they pick that star? Let's look at, let's see here. Let's do something like this. Let's see. Man, I got a bunch of tabs open. Let's do this. Real ID star. Images. Right there. So if you turn it to the side, what are you going to see? You already know what you're going to see. So why did they choose that symbol out of all to make the real ID compatible as an identification marker? But let's jump into the article. It says, look at the current driver's license or state identification. If it's real ID compatible, it will have a star in the right-hand corner. That's it on that. And then let's go through some. It says, what classification needs known about the real ID before deadline? The real ID deadline is 1 month away. Here's what travelers need to know, because it's going to come around that travel time. People are going to be going on breaks. People are going to be traveling to see families, trips, vacations, blase, all those things, all of the above. So that's why they're setting this up now. They didn't do it during the winter time. And then do it during the time of fall. They did it right now because there's a lot of things that are going on when it comes to immigration. And then also Trump just canceled the ID. Let's pull it up here. Hold on. Let me show you. So Trump has also canceled. What's it called? Hold on. Here it goes. This is for fair use, fair use. This is for educational purposes only.
The Department of Homeland Security is reportedly ending legal status for migrants who used a Biden-era system to enter the U.S. The CBP One app, now called CBP Home, temporarily allowed more than 900,000 people to live in the U.S. starting in January 2023, with permission to work under parole for 2 years. Now, many of them are being told their paroles are being revoked and they'll face prosecution if they stay in the U.S. CBS News obtained the message stating if you do not depart the United States immediately, you will be subject to potential law enforcement actions that will result in your removal from the United States unless you have otherwise obtained a lawful basis to remain here. It's not clear exactly how many people received termination notices, but according to CBS, the message tells migrants to sign up for self-deportation through the app.
See, so they're cutting apps. Dang, deadlines are coming concerning this mark, because you're going to have a identification marker to why you were in Babylon. Okay, you're not going to be able to just supposedly just be here, man. Okay, so let's go to U.S. Star ID, and it says the real ID deadline looms. What you need to know. All right, they got a couple other videos. I don't really want to play them just in case they try to strike me. But the main point is here. You can look up all the videos. The real ID. You see the star at the corner. And it's been going on for 6 years. All right, they've been implementing this gradually. That's why you have the word gradualism. Okay, if we look up what the word gradualism means, it says gradualism is a general sense, is the idea that change occurs incrementally over time rather than through sudden or dramatic events. See, so gradualism is what you see taking place. Because why is it what is their end goal? They started out with this ID, then this ID, then this, then this, then this. It's leading somewhere. It's going down a road. What road is that? And then you have all these migrants that are now in the country illegally. How are they going to discern between who is who if it gets out of control? They're going to have some kind of way to identify who's here legally and who's here illegally. So that's the mentality you have to have, that something is coming down the pipe. So gradualism, it says the policy of approaching a desire end by gradual stages. The evolution of new species by gradual acclimation to small genetic changes over a long period of time. But the main point is here, the policy of approaching a desired end. The desired end is what? The MOTB. That's what the desired end is. And how do we know that? Because prophecy is here. That's why, what are they leading for? If the so-called MOTB is sin in all of its forms, the MOTB is here. So what are they doing? Why are they gradually moving us towards this system that we're in? And you think that the Lord would not let us know this system was coming, that something like this would be implemented on the planet Earth? Everything major in the so-called world stage you can find in the Bible that has to do with biblical ends towards the end goal, the great and notable day of the Lord. So why would this event in this situation not be included in that? Because they're moving towards a goal. You got to be crazy not to see that. You have to be denying. You either have to be false. You're just doing it on purpose. Who knows? But the main point is that they are leading towards a single goal, which is what? An identification system. And then on top of that, the money system is crumbling at the same time. So what's the chances of you have to have the real ID? And then on top of that, the stock market is on the fritz. It's going up and down. It's not stable. All right. They're what is it called? They're doing gradualism with that also, because they're not wanting to crash it all at once. They're crashing it over time. It loses this many points, then loses this many points. These tariffs are going to escalate that. once these tariffs really are set, I think it's 107% on the tariffs, life's going to change, and they're going to do it gradually because it's a controlled demolition. That shows you that it's not a natural, it's not organic. This is GMO. All right, just like they genetically alter food, they're genetically altering the fall of this currency. They're making this currency fall at the rate that they want it to, because really this currency is fake. We don't need the stock market. The world don't need the so-called money structure that has been set up, because it's not a righteous money structure. That's why the Lord said just balances and weights and measures. Those are the Most High takes pleasure in that. You don't take pleasure in fiat currency that has no backing. There's no gold. There's nothing tangible to back up the money that is in circulation currently. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some of these precepts. The first one, let's get this one right here. Hold on. This is the book of 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 68. It says, "For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you." So this is certain of us will be taken by the times that we're in. So it's not a coincidence that certain Israelites don't believe in what we're saying and believe in the doctrine that we're pushing and the truth, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we're given through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, because it's prophesied for that to happen. That it says that it should take certain of you. Certain of who? Certain of you Israelites. The Lord's not worried about these nations. The nations are going to take it regardless. It's not for them, because they're not the bride of the Lamb. The Lamb, or the bride of the Lamb, are you Israelites. The elect first, and then it's going to transcend unto the rest of the Israelites. But the main point that this was given in the time of Ezra, in the time of Deuteronomy, all right, the book of Job, all these times in the prophets, from the minor to the major prophets, they were always speaking to the Israelites. Certain times they would go and speak to the nations that the Israelites were dwelling amongst, or if the Lord had judgment to pass to a nation that was oppressing his people, or had a hand, or if they needed to move towards a goalpost or a goal, then the Lord would send a prophet to tell them. But the main people that the Lord was speaking about was the Israelites, which now today in the modern terms are Negroes, Latinos, and Native American descent. All right, this is the people that the Lord is speaking to now currently, and saying, certain of you, and shall take away certain of you, and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. So there's going to be a time where you're going to fall, certain of us, certain of the Israelites, certain of those that know that they're Israelites, not just the ones that are ignorant, which if you don't know about the Israelite thing, then you must be under a rock. It's the talk of the town. It's everywhere. It's become, and that's why you got the Muslims coming up. You got the Islam coming up. All these different factions of so-called religion are coming up against this, because it's a player now. It's becoming the elephant in the room, because what we're preaching and the gospel that we're pushing out is going against all the grains of these other religions. Because some say, oh, it's all Negroes. Some say it's, oh, nations can come in, or you can, the Lord loves everybody. All those things that have been pushed for a long period of time now are being challenged, because it says the Lord is a man of war, the Lord is his name. So why wouldn't his work and his work be the same? The Lord is battling against these other doctrines and these things by way of us. He says, I've chosen the foolish things to confound the wise. So confounding is an act of aggression, if you want to say that. Confounding is an act of action. It's an action. It means you're going at something. You're challenging something to say whatever it's saying is not true, and what you're saying is true. That's what confounding is. It's saying that you may think a way, but then after it's brought to you, or if it's shown to you in another way that goes against what you so-called believe, you've been confounded, or you don't have no response, or no rebuttal, or you don't have nothing to say against whoever's saying something against your religion or your so-called belief. But this is not a religion. This is a heritage. That's why Isaiah says that you shall discontinue from the heritage that I gave thee. So this is a heritage that Yahweh Shem Yahshua has given back to us. And those that don't want it, you're going to be caught up in this third woe. You're going to be caught up in the destruction, Jacob's trouble, all these things that are coming down the pike. This is Romans 13 and verse 11, a well-seasoned scripture. But I think it hits the point. It says, let's read in the NLT. This is all the more urgent for you to know how late it is. Time is running out. Wake up, for our salvation is nearer now than we first believed. And that's the deliverance that's coming by way of this trouble, the thermonuclear war. The Lord is working on the hearts of these nations. He's moving them towards the goal, just like we would be. We're not here to do anything on a worldwide scale or a massive scale, because the Lord is taking care of it. He's just asking us to get our spirits right and get ourselves tightened up in the Rachakwadash, all right, the Holy Spirit. That way we can possibly be of the elect and be saved and be delivered out of the coming judgment that's getting ready to take place on the planet Earth. That's why it says the yoke is easy, man. The Lord's not asking us to go to Russia and help move the minds of Putin and all these. No, he's not asking us to do that. He's asking us just to believe and to hold fast till he come. That's why it says occupy till I come. What are you occupied in? Prophecy. Because it says Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. So that's what your mindset should be on. That's your spirit should be moving towards, is to be what? Waiting on Yahweh Shai to move this goalpost, to move the things along. And then you're going to see that these things are coming to pass, and to prepare yourself, man. All right. And it says all this, the more urgent for you now, you know how late it is. Time is running out. Wake up, for our salvation is nearer now than we first believed. So we're telling the same thing. We're reiterating the same thing. Get out of this place, get out of the mindset of this place, and prepare for the changing of worlds, man. This is 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 6. It says, so then let us not sleep as others do, but let us remain awake and sober. And it's talking about sober from the beliefs and the dogmas and the wayward understandings that are coming out and that have been out. Okay, like hell, that's you're drunk. You're sipping a drink that's not yours. Just like you intoxicate yourself, you don't think correctly. You're not at the best version of yourself. That's how you don't go into a boxing match drunk. Okay, same thing when Mike Tyson started, losing his edge. He was getting lit. He wasn't training the way he was. He wasn't staying in that focus, and he fell off of his what does it say, his streak. So when he started living more vicariously, same thing when you're in these doctrines, because this doctrine, the hell doctrine, it forces you to move a different type of way. Instead of moving in the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, you're moving in the fear of hell. You're making hell a fear factor, when the Lord never made that. Hell is what we're living in. Hell is the condition that we're being put in now. That's why the curses brought us into hell. It brought us into hell. Now we're in the what does it say? The lake of fire, which is just hell and the lake of fire do two different things. Lake of fire is this place that we're set at, which is going to be destroyed in the third world war and the judgment of Yahweh Shai. So we're here now. So the curses put us in hell, which is a low condition, a low state. Now these curses have brought us over here to Babylon, because Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, said that we'd be scattered. Now we've been scattered, and the Lord has found us again. We don't need to go over to Kenya, different places like that. Aussie, we don't need to go over to where is that? Budapest, none of these places, all right? Because Yahweh Shem Yahshai is going to bring you the truth to you. That's why the unicorn is there. All right, this is Ephesians 5 and 14. It says, so let us wake up, O sleeper, rise up from the dead, and Mashiach will shine on you. And how is he going to shine on you? It's the truth. All right, that's why it says, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. And how are you going to glorify him if you do not use his name, man? How are you going to glorify somebody if you don't call his name? If somebody say, man, damn, who did this? You come into a house and somebody's cleaned your house from top to bottom. You're going to say, damn, who cleaned this house? You're just going to look at him and say, man, the mysterious one. They're going to be like, who the hell's the mysterious one? Does he not have a name? Okay, so the Lord has a name. He has it's not a title. It's a name. It's a personal thing, just like you have a name, which is an omen nomen. Some of us are named in a name prediction. So the Heavenly Father's name predicts who he is and says who he is. He is. All right, to be. So that's, I'm gonna leave it there. I just wanted to bring that information out, show you that the gradualism is on and going. In May, they're gonna go ahead and cut off the other IDs, and you have to have that real ID to travel. No ifs, ands, or buts. So how much more coming down the pike with an MOTB? You won't be able to do anything, all right? Because they're showing you now with the real ID. If you don't have it, you can't travel, man, all right? So Lord willing, is edifying lesson with that. I say, call for Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Machak Wadash. Until the next time, I say shalom and more, not to never keep faith. Shalom.